What's going on, everybody? I hope you're having an amazing week as always. I'm going to wait about 30 seconds for people, probably a minute or so, to get into the live stream. And I want to talk about what I've kind of mentioned in the last few videos, and I can't stop talking about it because it continues to get worse and worse and worse. And that is the fact that Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and YouTube are working together to not only delete any sort of video that they want to delete, questioning the official narrative of what happened last week or 2 weeks ago, but they're also banning and censoring people and stopping people's personal accounts from posting. They're putting temporary bans on posting any sort of links for a week. It's very, very terrible. It's 1984-esque. It's totalitarianism. It's fascist. It's against the First Amendment. Yes, they are private companies, but considering how much power they have, it's very, very disturbing, and it's not stopping anytime soon. We'll wait about 15, 20 more seconds for people to get in the live stream, and I want to tell you exactly what I've been seeing, and it's happening cross platforms, not just to me, but random people for sharing posts. And I'm trying to be more calm this week. I usually don't get too flustered, but I'm very, 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 very upset at what's going on. It's a shame. It's disgusting, but I mean, let's be honest, this type of stuff's been happening the past 2 years nonstop, and they keep ramping up and up and up, and they just want to push people to the brink. They want to lie. They want to take no self-accountability. They want to take no self-responsibility. No matter what happens, no matter what the truth is, it's going to be their agenda that's pushed. You can't talk about it. You can't question it. If you say something against it, you're racist, you're sexist, you're xenophobic, and now you're harassing, I guess, and that's justification to silence you, censor you, and act like you don't exist. So that's what they've been doing for 2 years, and it just keeps getting worse and worse and worse. I'm going to try to be as calm as possible, but I am very, very upset this week. I'm a little more flustered than normal, so we'll see what happens. Let's wait 15 more seconds. Thank you guys for joining. As always, follow me on Instagram at DreamRare, DreamRare. You can follow me on Twitter at Legendary Energy, and you could reach out to me. Check out my links at legendary.vision. That is my website. So, Facebook has deleted 2 of my videos from another account. I'm the manager of multiple accounts. That's actually what I did before I did just this Facebook and stuff. I'm a social media manager, a digital strategist. So I have 8+ years of experience working at major agencies with very high level companies and agencies as well. I've done social media work for. So I have a lot of experience in that. That's why I talk about the Russia troll hacking and how they say that Russia hacked the election and all that. I've debunked that a bunch of times because I'm experienced in that. But also, they've deleted 2 of my videos on the Parkland situation. It wasn't a conspiracy theory. It wasn't mean. It wasn't harassing. It was literally just the truth. But they have this new policy at Facebook and Twitter and YouTube and Google. And it's not a new strategy. It's just now it's really hitting social media hard, which is anything that they don't want you to question, they call a conspiracy theory. So if you question anything in life, it's called science. Basically, that's what science is. You question, you have hypothesis, you have a study, you research, you come to a conclusion. And that's the great thing about science is it's never truly settled. No matter how much CNN and all these other news organizations, they tell you the science is settled, and if you question it, you're that terrible person. It's not true. Science is always, disproving, and until you can disprove it, it's true. But almost all of the great scientific discoveries have eventually been misproven. It's a revolving door. That's what science is. But the second you question what you're not supposed to question, they call it a conspiracy theory. And there are some conspiracy theories. There are some things that are totally fake. There's things that people do too much of. There's definitely bullying and harassing online. I'm not saying these things don't exist. But Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube, they've decided what's a conspiracy theory. And they've decided that questioning any of the Parkland kids is a conspiracy theory. So they're allowed to be on The Hill. They're allowed to be on Mediaite and CNN and New York Times and Washington Post. And they're allowed to be programmed all over your media, just blasting in your face all day. They're allowed to say, oh, the sheriff is innocent. I wouldn't want to go into the school either. So they got these media kids they're saying it's not the sheriff's county's fault, but then they're somehow blaming the governor. So the same kid that says it's not the sheriff's fault, it's not the department's fault that 4 police officers were sitting outside like cowards and, didn't want to go into the school. Oh, it's not their fault, but it's the governor's fault because he didn't, tell the police officers to go in. I mean, they're allowed to lie. They're allowed to push the Democratic Party mainstream media agenda. And I'm not being bipartisan. I'm not choosing a side. That's just what it is. If it was the Republican Party agenda, I would say that. If it was the, Fox News agenda, I would say that. But it's just not what it is. So these kids are allowed to say whatever they want, do whatever they want. They went from 0 to 700,000 followers in a week. It's not sketchy. You can't say who their parents are. You can't say what their dad does and what his job is. You can't say that the mom took them on VIP passes to CNN 2 years ago and they're sitting at CNN desk 2 years ago. You're not allowed to say that they were in the closet with an active shooter giving gun control interviews, asking the other students, hey, how do you feel about this? And they're like, oh, we need to take everyone's guns away. You're not allowed to say that the sheriff was at the town hall blaming the NRA when he and his whole county was responsible. You can't say any of that. That's a conspiracy theory now. So, Jake Tapper's allowed to say it. You watch that great interview with Jake Tapper, and he questions, he actually did a great job. Got to give credit where credit's due. Jake Tapper conducted an amazing interview and asked all the questions that people want to ask. He's allowed to do it. You're allowed to do it on CNN if you're Jake Tapper, but if you're a citizen and you post what they don't want you to post, they're banning people. I posted a video, got 4 or 5 million views. It got deleted, and then I have multiple people who follow me. They're sending me these messages showing that they're temporarily banned from posting to Facebook for a week for sharing a post. Facebook, what are you doing? I mean, it's one thing if you want to delete the post, but to ban somebody from posting because they shared a post that you didn't want them to share, this is insanity. This is far beyond the reach of what they've ever done. But as I say all the time, and people think they think it's a crazy conspiracy theory to say, but it's really just reality. It's what's happening. Anytime they want to do something, they need a reason to do it. I mean, they wanted to get rid of Gaddafi in Libya. So, as even Louis Farrakhan has mentioned and other people, I know a lot of people don't like Louis Farrakhan. They think he's a black supremacist and a racist or whatever. But, he explains quite thoroughly and quite honestly about what happened in Libya. They make somebody the boogeyman, so they go out and they, kill the leader. And then, Syria, we got to go there. So they need a means to justify their end. So, they've been wanting to close up the internet, and people will probably call this a conspiracy theory, but it's exactly what happened. The internet helped us elect President Donald Trump. The internet helped have Bernie Sanders defeat Hillary Clinton. These are two things that Facebook, Twitter, Google, YouTube, and the mainstream media and all the politicians, the elite class, the George Bushes and the Barack Obamas, it goes left and right. They didn't want this to happen. It wasn't supposed to be Bernie Sanders beating Hillary Clinton. It was supposed to be Hillary Clinton in office. And what helped Bernie almost beat Hillary? What helped Trump literally beat Hillary? It was the internet. So they need a reason to close up the internet. They need a reason to delete videos. They need a reason to be able to block you. If you're conservative or libertarian or you're smart or you're into conspiracy theories and you like to share truth articles from like The Free Project or Mind Unleashed or any of these, open-minded, questioning news organizations, they need a reason to censor you. They can't just do it randomly. So what have they done over the past year? And I've covered every second of this. First, they changed their policy. So Facebook says, hey, Anomaly, we deleted your video because anything hateful is considered deletable, and anything that's attacking a group or attacking an individual, that can be deleted. So now YouTube and Google and Facebook owns Instagram, YouTube is owned by Google, and Twitter's owned by Jack, who might as well just, never mind, I don't even want to get into that, but they've changed their whole policy so that they have a means, they can delete anything. They don't have to have a reason. It's so broad and so vague that they can and they will delete anything they don't want to. So how did they go further? They've already tried to close up their social media, but it's not working. People are too honest. People are waking up on the left and the right. People know what's going on. They're not dumb anymore. It's hard to stage things now because we have the internet and cell phones are everywhere, and it's very, very difficult to get away with what they used to get away with in the 70s and 80s and even 90s and even early 2000s. So what's the next thing to close up Facebook and Twitter? It's the Russia. Oh, there were $40,000 of Russian troll ads. And you know what that means. Now we got to delete the accounts and we got to further investigate people. And we got to harass old ladies at their house because they're conservative. We got to be like, are you Russian? Every time that something comes out that they don't want people to say, they'll say a Russian troll said it. And they'll be like, look, a Russian troll said that on Twitter. So are you agreeing with Russia? Everything that we don't want to do, that's Russian. So they use the Russia thing to push further and further and further. And that's something that a lot of even left-leaning people kind of figured out. And they're like, they're BS. So now with the Parkland tragedy, they've taken it to an even higher level. And they've decided, okay, now we're going to use 16-year-olds and 17-year-olds who, they're not just random 16 and 17-year-olds. It's not like, oh, this guy's just a random kid. Like, look at their past. There's millions of things that should and absolutely will be questioned. Questions are okay. Questions are normal. But Facebook, YouTube, Google, and Twitter have decided now any questioning of these kids is a conspiracy theory. Any questioning of these kids is harassing and bullying. You get your post deleted. My friend sent me a post an hour ago on Instagram. It's already been deleted. My video's been deleted. They're going around deleting any videos. It doesn't have to be a conspiracy video. It doesn't have to be a bullying video. Any video that involves these kids that isn't a mainstream media article, they are immediately deleting. So these kids are allowed to push the gun control agenda, and I'm not saying you have to be anti-gun control to agree with me. I want there to be a real debate. I'm all for it. I'm all for a gun control, anti-gun control debate. NRA debate against people who hate guns. I'm for free speech. I'm for an argument. But do you understand what social media and the mainstream media is doing? They're fueling one side of the argument. They're using little kids to push one side of the argument. And then they're censoring, blocking, and banning people for posting for disagreeing with it. It's so incredibly dangerous. It's happening. And if they are successful with all of this stuff, which they're doing, you have the kids saying, I'm not going back to school until legislation's changed. I'm never going back to school until every single state changes their gun legislation. Meanwhile, I'm not even going to say it's like Voldemort now. He who must not be named. I mean, I'm not going to use the kids' pictures anymore. I'm not going to say their names. I'm not going to say, what their parents are doing and how long they've been, involved in this type of stuff. You can't even say it. It's like the word you can't say because they'll censor you. We're officially in Big Brother 1984 style thing where you can't say and do certain things. And like I said, it's not about questioning the survivor or the victim. It's not about saying, oh, okay, disrespecting them and whatnot. But it's a different story if they're just telling their story and saying what they saw, or they're in the closet doing gun control interviews with an active shooter. They're all over the news pushing an agenda. They're not simply telling their story. They're not trying to say what they think about what happened. They are trying to change legislation. They are trying to change people in office at 16 years old. So how is that fair? It's not fair. Everybody knows it's not fair. But what can we do? Facebook's a private company. Google's a private company. And they're deleting not only posts that they don't want you to say about what's going on, but they're banning people from posting for just sharing a video. People have shown me, hey, I shared the video that you shared, and I'm banned from posting on Facebook for a week. This is insane. And it's only going to, I don't want to say it's going to get worse. I don't want to be negative, but you have to understand in other countries, it is worse. In many European countries, they're so far left that you get arrested or you get fined or you literally get the police coming to your door if you say something that they don't want you to say. Literally, there's laws in Germany, there's laws in Sweden that if you say, hey, like, I think these people are raping a lot of people. Like, Sweden wasn't always a place where all the women were getting raped all the time, and there's grenade attacks every day, and there's explosions every day, and there's rapes every day, and I think it might have something to do with this. And you say that, that's a fine in Sweden. We don't need that in America. We can have liberalism, we can have equality, we can have kindness and compassion and love. But this Orwellian Big Brother censorship state has gone so far to the point where I have so much to say. I have so much evidence. I have no hate in my heart. I only have love. I only have facts. I don't have a made-up conspiracy theory. I just want to post a video with facts. Facts. But I'm not allowed to do it. If I post it, it's going to immediately get deleted. And then anybody who shares that post is going to get blocked. So I'm not only going to hurt myself, but I'm going to hurt my audience. They're going to get banned from using the platform just for sharing my post. That's how far that they're going. And it's not okay. It makes absolutely no sense. It is very suspicious what's going on. The fact that the school had 5 drills a month. They had 1 drill that day. People said they had code red drills where there's police officers shooting blanks at the kids. What public school has that? Is that a conspiracy theory to ask a question? What kind of school has 5 drills a month, 2 drills a day, and code red drills where they're shooting blanks at kids? I can't think of another public school. If you know of any other public school in the entire country that does that, let me know. But if I present that in a viral style video, it'll get deleted from Facebook. It'll get deleted from Instagram. It'll get deleted from YouTube. It'll get deleted from Twitter. And it's not a coincidence. It's not because they care about hate speech and bullying. And this is why I say the things I say. People say, what are you, Fox News, or you're a Republican now? Look at who's trying to censor you. I don't make up the rules. I didn't tell politicians to do this, but all the Democrats want to censor. All the Democrats say, oh yeah, Russia's the reason that Trump won. It couldn't be us. Just like Sheriff Israel said, oh, it's not my fault, or it's not Peterson's fault, or it's not any of our faults, it's your fault. That's what they do. They have no accountability. They accept no responsibility. They blame others. They're godless, soulless beings who can get on TV, blame the NRA when they know that their inept office is the reason for the shooting. They got 20-something calls on this kid, and then they have the gall to go on Twitter and say, how dare conspiracy theorists say we got 39 tips on this kid? We only got 27. It's like, oh wow, 27 tips on the kid? And that's what you're mad at? You're not mad about the fact that you dropped the ball on every single level? You're mad at people for mistaking 27 for 39? And these are the people that we're supposed to just listen to? And be like, oh yeah, I'm just going to roll over and not say anything because Sheriff Israel totally convinced me that this wasn't a setup. Because nothing about 3 cops sitting outside and one armed officer sitting outside and 5 drills a month and, code red drills where they're shooting blanks at kids, and the fact that the kid, whose dad works for who and was in CNN 2 years ago sitting in the closet at 9:42 saying, what do you think about gun control? Yeah, none of that is any suspicious at all. You're right. I'm such a terrible person for thinking that that's suspicious. There's 10,000 red flags here. Even Jake Tapper from CNN said it. It's so bad and so obvious now that even CNN and Jake Tapper can't pretend anymore. They're like, dude, you dropped the ball on 50 million levels. But you can't say it because now they're weaponizing kids. And I wish I had a nicer way to put that, but that's just what's happening. They're not simply just letting these kids talk and have a platform. They're using them for a political agenda. And any person, even if you're the most left-leaning Democrat in the world, that's what they're doing. They're using the kids for a Democratic Party political agenda. If there were little Republican kids on TV every day saying, we need to arm teachers, we need to arm teachers, we love the NRA, we need to vote in more Republicans, we need to vote in more Republicans, I would say the same thing. It's not like I'd be like, oh no, he's not pushing a political agenda. He's just a kid. And if you say anything bad about the kid, you're a bad person and you're a conspiracy theorist because that's just a 17-year-old kid. There's nothing weird about that. I would say the same thing if it was Republican. That kid's pushing a Republican NRA agenda. And then if they were deleting posts of other people saying that, I would say the same thing. Because I'm a real patriot. I'm a real citizen of Earth and America where I care about all people. And I want freedom of speech to exist. I'm sorry, the First Amendment's important. And the Second Amendment was put there for a reason. And it's not, for what people want to say, it's also to protect against government tyranny and other reasons. I don't even want to get into that now, but it's so blatantly obvious what they're doing. And I just don't understand what people think the end game is. If they keep pushing, they keep pushing their deleting videos, where are they going to go with these kids? Like, at what point are they going to stop deleting the videos? Because this is how it happens. Isn't it obvious to even the most liberal, left-leaning person, isn't it obvious that every time a tragedy happens, they take away more and more freedoms from United States people? Every single time. It doesn't matter. Just to make all the left-leaning people who always get mad at me that listen, even when it's Republicans, they do this, now you get spied on. Oh, they do this, now you can't purchase guns. Oh, the police officers messed up, but let's not blame the police now. Like, the whole left agenda is like the police are terrible, they're horrible people, all the police are racist. Even when it's in a city like St. Louis where the police chief is black and all of the top people on the police level are black. That's the truth about St. Louis, but it's racist and the police are terrible. The police are so bad until the police let 17 kids get slaughtered in Florida. Now all of a sudden, don't blame the police, man. Come on, who wants to do their job? That's what police officers do. What do you mean? Oh, he doesn't want to face a gunman. Then don't be a cop. There's videos of a cop going in to 7-Eleven with 2 armed gunmen, and he shoots both of them because he's a strong, individual. That's why you're a cop. If you don't want to face a crime or a hard situation, don't take the job. And you literally have people protecting the police now and being like, oh, the police, how dare you? And then a month later, there's going to be a controversial situation. And then all of a sudden, it's all police are to blame. When one cop has a misdemeanor with one person, every single cop's to blame. But when 4 cops are sitting outside the school, when the other cops arrive and just letting kids get slaughtered, all of a sudden it's the NRA's fault. Don't you notice? I mean, are people not aware? I'm not even conservative. I'm not even Republican. That's why nobody promotes me, because I don't pander to anybody. So everyone's afraid to hang out with me. And, oh, we don't want to promote Anomaly because he keeps it more real than we do. So that'll defeat our whole illusion. But don't people notice no matter what happens, it's your fault? No matter what happens, it's conservatives' fault? No matter what happens, it's the NRA's fault? I mean, the whole agenda and narrative of this was to blame the NRA, go for gun control laws, get Republicans out of office, and not go back to school until all the legislation's changed. And then a week later, after this town hall, we find out that there's 4 sheriffs sitting outside the school, not doing anything when the other sheriffs arrive. You have the main sheriff on CNN admitting to your face that's probably true. We're going to look into it, but yeah, I don't doubt that 3 of my police officers and an armed guard were hiding outside the school as police were getting slaughtered. You know that they're doing 5 or 6 drills a month. You know that these kids have a deep history with CNN and have been on VIP tours. You know that they're in the closet saying it's 9:42 and, hey, what do you think about gun control when there's an active shooter? All of this is fact. It's not a conspiracy theory. But Facebook still wants to delete videos. This is their way of censoring people, and this is what the internet has brought. This is one of the most positive things that the internet has brought. Before the internet, you had 20 channels, 30 channels, 40 channels, 11 channels, 300 channels, and they're all owned by the same 3 to 5 companies. Between Disney, Time Warner, and Comcast, Google it. Google what Comcast owns. Google what Time Warner owns. Google what Disney owns. They own every channel. They own every radio station. And now they're swallowing up social media. So this is what the internet brought to the world. Before this, they would say it's a conspiracy theory. They would laugh at everybody. They would put it on the news, and no one would be allowed to agree otherwise. But with the internet, from 2000 to now, you've had people be able to talk. You could listen to the conspiracy theory. You could listen to the official narrative, and then you could use your brain to be like, I believe the mainstream narrative. I believe the conspiracy theory. The conspiracy theory is interesting, but I believe parts of that and parts of that. That's the freedom of the internet. But now they've used justification to delete conspiracy videos because of these little kids. And I'm not saying it's good to be mean to the kids or to make up fake information about the kids. That definitely does happen, because anytime something happens, people freak out and you get all sorts of everything. But it's not people questioning's fault. It's the fact that you're putting this kid everywhere. Of course he's going to be open to scrutiny and a debate if you're broadcasting him on every single station, every single social media, and every single news station. So how do they respond? They want to delete every single video about it. They don't want you to know who the kid is. They don't want you to know his history. They don't want you to know his first tweet. They don't want you to know who his parents are. They don't want you to know everything about it. They don't want you to know what he was doing the day of. They don't want you to see that he's a complete hypocrite where he's saying, oh no, it's not the sheriff's fault. Why would he want to go into the school? But then he blames the governor for not doing something with the sheriff. So it's not the sheriff's fault. It's not the county sheriff's fault. It's not the armed guard's fault. But it's the governor's fault for not making them do stuff. It's just because the governor's a Republican. And like I said, I wouldn't care if it was right or left-leaning. I called out a conservative on Twitter today because he was using identity politics to pander and be corny, just like a lot of left-leaning people. I did it. I don't really care. That's why no one wants to feature me, and that's why I don't get invited to these things. It's because I don't pander to the right either. Some people might think I'm doing it, but I'm only doing it because I care about where the truth is. And if you speak the truth nowadays, the left will try to censor you. They try to shove you into the right. That's why I stand up for the right so much, because if you didn't have a conservative, a libertarian, and an awake base in the U.S., we would be like Sweden or Germany, where we have Orwellian hate speech laws, where if you say what they don't want you to say, you get fined or thrown in jail. That literally happens in Germany. In Germany, if you want to homeschool your kid, if you don't want your kid to have a government-subsidized public education, you get arrested or they take your kid from you. That's how serious the laws are. They're like, put them in school, let them sit in this box, and let us teach your kid, or we're going to arrest you. That's not what the United States is about. That's why we have so much innovation. That's why among the largest prison population in the world, which is a complete travesty, we are free in many, many ways. And that's one of the good things I thought liberals and conservatives could agree with about the U.S. Like, we have a lot of trials, we have a lot of tribulations, we have a lot of things to work on. But overall, we figured it out pretty well, among other things. But the left is the one who's trying to be totalitarianism. They're trying to take away the freedom of speech. They're trying to take away all these other sort of rights. They're trying to censor the internet. Who's standing up against internet censorship? It's the Republicans. It's Donald Trump. It's me. Meanwhile, they've convinced people that if you want the internet to be free, you work with Russia. And any thought that you have that's anti-mainstream media, it's Russia. And now it's a conspiracy theory. Between the Russia nonsense and the Parkland nonsense, they've now have the 1-2 to basically swallow Facebook and Twitter Live. And you could Google it or DuckDuckGo or use any Bing. I don't really care. Look up which politicians are trying to censor the internet. Look at what politicians are pressuring Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Google. They're all Democrats. I'm sorry, I didn't ask Democratic Party to be the Orwellian party of censorship and lack of common sense and use every single tragedy as exploitation to censor you and silence you and take more right. I didn't ask for that. I would love to vote Democrat, but it's all Democrats doing it. It's just the truth. The only ones standing up against this type of totalitarianism Orwellian state are Republicans or conservatives. And if you're a liberal and you say the truth, they'll call you right-wing or they'll call you Russian. It's happening to honest progressives, the very few that there actually are. They're getting smeared as right-wing Russian trolls for just questioning the mainstream narrative. So it's wake-up time. I'm sorry that this doesn't pander to what you've been told. I'm sorry that this doesn't pander to your past of sensitivity and feelings and the fact that you want the Republicans to be really, really bad. They have enough trials and terrible things that they're doing alone, and I call them out sometimes. But the main thing here is the freedom of speech and the opening of the internet. They've used net neutrality as like a shiny object where all liberals are fighting for net neutrality. but they're ignoring the fact that during net neutrality, which was a multi-hundred-page document, hundreds of pages, what do you think it said in those hundreds of pages? Do you think it said, we must keep the internet free, we're going to stop Verizon and Comcast from doing bad things, and everything's going to be perfect? No, it was filled with a bunch of loopholes, it was filled with a bunch of nonsense, and while net neutrality was around, the internet got swallowed alive by Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Google. The internet was never more censored than under net neutrality. So net neutrality, I'm sorry, it didn't keep the net neutral. You think you're saving the internet's freedom. You're like, net neutrality, net neutrality. No. Meanwhile, you're actively helping Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Google to swallow alive the internet. And they're going to do it with or without net neutrality, but I just don't understand how it's not obvious. They're going to use conspiracy theory, they're going to use this, they're going to use Russia, and they finally started deleting posts. I've been posting from multiple pages for 5-6 years. I've never had a single post deleted or flagged, and I've had 2 deleted and flagged in the last week, and none of them were conspiracy theories, none of them were fake, none of them were making up information, none of them called these people crisis actors. I didn't say anything negative or hateful. I just pointed out the facts that they don't want me to point out. So this is just a friendly warning to people. Be careful what you post, because Facebook and Twitter and YouTube and Google, they're not free, they're not honest, they're not unbiased, they're not trying to let a free flow of information be truth. They're trying to let a few corporations and some of the fakest news corporations censor and control the internet. They don't want you to question things, and if you post about these Parkland kids, they're probably going to ban you from posting for a week. It's happened to a lot of people, so I posted a few today. I might even just delete them, because everyone knows it anyway. There's no reason to keep it around, but I'll figure out a way of talking about it like I am now, and speaking about it without using pictures, without using the names. I'm not going to name anybody so they don't get offended or think it's bullying, but this is happening. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and all of the other news sites, they're all being filtered. And this has been happening on Google for years. If you say what they don't want you to say, the Democrat politicians, I'm sorry to people who are left-leaning. I know they don't want this to be true, but it is. It's the Democrats. They're going to Congress. They're going to Senate. They're going in front of intelligence committees and whatever and saying, how dare this post get high on Google? How dare this be a free and open internet? This post isn't the Washington Post, and this isn't CNN, and this isn't the New York Times. So let's manipulate the algorithm so this can't get to the top anymore. And they're like, okay, we're so sorry. And they're like, this is Russian. This is conspiracy. Like, you can't let this go. The Google algorithm's rigged. The YouTube algorithm's rigged. The Facebook algorithm is now, I don't even know if the algorithm's rigged, because I do very well. That's why I always say thank you to Facebook. God bless you. You've given me an incredible platform to speak the truth. But Facebook is rigged in the sense if you talk about the wrong things, they'll consider it hateful, harassment, bullying, or whatever they want to say, conspiracy, so they'll delete it. You're not allowed to push conspiracy theories all year, pushing the New York Times and the Washington Post and CNN, who have had to retract more stories than I have. I don't think I've had to retract a single story. I've maybe deleted a few posts that were not as accurate as I want to be, but the fakest news networks on the planet, you partner with to fight fake news and censor people who question them and question the kids that they elevate. I mean, this is their new strategy, using little kids. It's like Rachel Maddow on steroids. Imagine Rachel Maddow in a 16 or 17-year-old form, that if you talk against Rachel Maddow, now you get deleted, now you get blocked, now you get censored, now you get guilted. So they have their new strategy. It's the Russians on Facebook, let's swallow Facebook alive. Russians posted on Twitter, let's swallow Twitter alive. Russians posted on YouTube, let's swallow YouTube alive. And anybody that thinks otherwise, that's fine, because this is a free country where you're allowed to think, but really think about it, because if you think for a second these same politicians are swallowing up all these news sites to stop Russia and to help democracy, you are fooling yourself. They're not happy that people are having discussions. They're not happy that politicians can win that they don't want them to win. They want total control, and they're already getting closer and closer and closer and closer and closer and closer. And I would love to see more left-leaning people and more liberals wake up to that fact, because if you don't care about the First Amendment, if you don't care about the free flow of information, if you don't care about a free internet, you're not really a liberal. You're a mind-controlled totalitarianism. I don't know. And I'm not saying you have to agree with everything that Republicans say, this or that, but I mean, just look at who's trying to swallow up the internet. It's the Democratic Party. I don't know what else to say besides the fact that they're using little kids to push their political agenda. And like I said, before I leave, I would be fair about it if it was Republicans and there were little kids pushing the Republican agenda and the NRA agenda. I would say the same thing, because I don't really care for either of them, to be honest, but it's just not happening. And when it does happen, I'll say it. Just like I said today on Twitter, I called a conservative out. But I don't know at what point people are going to realize that it's happening, because for the first time ever, I've had posts deleted. People have had their accounts banned and blocked and kicked off Facebook for just sharing a harmless post. I just don't know where it's going to end. But I'm going to stay calm. I'm going to stay cool. I'm going to stay collected. I just wanted to make this video to let people know what's going on. I'm sure you can share your stories in the comment section. Let me know if this has happened to you. I've got multiple messages about it. I can't even check all my messages. I'm getting like 100 a day, and I got a lot of things I'm working on. I'm probably going to make one big video about all this stuff that I'm saying here. Make it very concise, to the point, make it viral and shareable, but I won't share pictures. I'm not going to share names. Even Jake Tapper is kind of getting fed up, because there's so much ridiculous stuff around this thing. You're deleting posts. Why can't we just have an honest look at it? Don't we actually care about the kids? Don't we really want to prevent this thing from happening? When you have multiple high-level intelligence warnings, when you have over 20 calls to the police, he's bringing knives to school, he's doing all this stuff. There's calls saying he's going to blow this stuff up. There's 5 drills a day. Teachers know that he can't even carry a backpack on campus. There's all these sort of warnings. Everybody in the world knows, and you watch Sheriff Israel on Tapper, and he is so arrogant. He has no self-accountability. He has no self-responsibility, and that's supposed to be okay? We're supposed to ignore that? Let's blame politicians, and let's change the legislation. Legislation's never going to work. That's what people don't understand. You think the whole Democratic platform and the left platform is like, we're going to raise taxes, and we're going to take thousands of dollars from you for health insurance, and it's all going to work out because they don't do their job now. What makes you think that if people have less rights and you're more censored and your posts are going to get deleted and more of your money's being stolen and extorted and sent to the politicians, what makes you think they're going to protect you then? They had every warning in the book. They had every sign in the book. They have enough resources. They didn't do it now. Can we at least say that? Can any of the gun control people say, hey, I'm for gun control, I believe in gun security, but this sheriff is a piece of shit, and he didn't do anything, and there's multiple layers to this equation, so let's do gun control that. I don't hear any of it. It's like, do something, blame it on conservatives, and for some reason that'll make sense and that'll fix things in the future. It's never going to fix things. It's not a sports game. When you win this sports game, you realize you didn't actually solve anything. I could talk about this all day, but I'm already tired of it, and I'm beyond tired of what's happening. It's really limiting me as a person, because when the main media starlets aren't allowed to be questioned, now the number one media figure and the number one spokesperson for the Democratic Party and the number one spokesperson for the mainstream media agenda, if you question them, now your video gets deleted and now you get banned from Facebook. So I'm very, very frustrated. I'm in a pickle here, but I'm sure myself as well as you will figure it out. Thank you guys so much. I'm going to post my links below. My email list. Please sign up for my email list if you haven't. I'm going to send one out today or tomorrow. That's very key, because I have no idea how far Facebook's going to push. I have no idea how far Twitter and Google and YouTube are going to push. They've already pushed so far. That's what frustrates me. They've done everything in the book and they still lost the election. They rigged the election. They had rigged algorithms. They rigged the Google searches. They rigged the Facebook news section. They rigged the Twitter news section. It wasn't Russia. It was the Democrats and the mainstream media. They rigged everything in their favor. They still lost the election. So they just want to go further and further and further and further and further. They rigged the election. Russia didn't rig the election. I didn't rig the election. Trump didn't rig the election. The whole social media and television media was set up for the Democratic Party, and they just go further and further and further and further and further and further. These are sick, disturbed people who want to spread their psychosis onto everybody else, and it's like they'll never stop. Even when there's 50 million red flags, there's 50 million people who did the wrong thing, there's cops all over the place doing absolutely nothing. Now all of a sudden, no, don't blame the cops. You couldn't possibly be a bigger hypocrite. There are millions of people walking around living in a complete fictional opposite land where nothing makes sense. Accountability is the enemy. Self-responsibility is the enemy. Being honest is the enemy. Having a brain is the enemy. Free speech is the enemy. The Second Amendment is the enemy. Anybody who wants to protect America is the enemy. I mean, this is the world that they have people living in. And this is the message that they're allowed to portray. And if you come with a message of common sense, integrity, or honesty about the wrong topic, apparently now our videos are going to be deleted. So we'll see how far this goes. And if it does go far enough, I would love to see all of these social media sites collapse, just like all of these companies that attacked the NRA. If you really want to be a strong company like Delta and United, why don't you question all of the people in the 20+ calls that they did absolutely nothing to protect these kids? I'm done. I can talk about this all day. I'm going to post my links below. Thank you guys for supporting. It means a lot, and hopefully this blows over so we can actually talk about other things and not, get completely deleted off the internet because we're not complete morons. Thank you guys.